this video, I want to show you how I go about putting the discussion section of a research article together. Now, for me, putting together that discussion is really the most difficult part of putting the research paper together. I'm much more focused on the systematic, writing up the results and the methods, while the discussion, it takes strain. So I'm going to share my method with you, and I'm sure there's many other ways that people go about writing discussions. I know this method works because I've published quite a few papers in the past, and I would still like to hear from the rest of the community. So please leave a comment in the comment box below this video. How are you doing things differently? What brilliant tips can we give our emerging researchers who's also struggling with writing a discussion? So in your discussion, you're expected to give your insights into the results of the study and link it to previous research. So you are the expert. You have done the study. You have immersed yourself into this topic of yours. So you are in a very good position to write that discussion and to share your thoughts. And the scientific community trusts you on doing that. Make sure that your discussion is aligned with your objective of the study. So the discussion is definitely the place where one can go off on a tangent. So keep that objective of yours in mind as you write your discussion. So in the discussion, the results are being interpreted and linked back to the research. You need to state the clinical or practical impact of the results, recommendations for future research, strengths and limitations are all the things that need to be covered in the discussion. Now, open in front of me is a paper from a student, and it's a well-written paper on work-related musculoskeletal disorders in farm workers. And what I'll do first, when I have the sections, I've finished my paper, let's say I've got the introduction, methods, and the results, I'll go to the methods section and start reading through. Now, the best way to formulate your discussion points is to do it as you go along, as you're busy with planning of the study, data collection, as you are interpreting and analyzing your results, to make notes of the things that you would like to put in the discussion. Well, if that didn't happen, and even if it did happen, it's still worth using the method that I'm going to show you now. So I start with a method section, and I just slowly, thoroughly read through this method section as if it's the first time I'm seeing it. And while reading through it, I'm trying to think of the various discussion points. What are they? Which points do I need to clarify for my reader, or show my insights, or shed some light on? Now, for example, in this study, we've included all farm workers aged 18 years and older. And this is something that I'm thinking that maybe in future studies, it will be worth that to look at the 16 and 17-year-olds working on farms, and what risks do they have to get work-related musculoskeletal disorders. And then I just make a note there. I use the comment box, review, new comment, future research suggestion. This study only included adults, but what is the prevalence of work-related musculoskeletal disorders among the miners working on the farm? And then you move on and you read through all of this. What thoughts are there? What do you think you need to clarify? Where can you give insights? And then we get to the results, and there may be some other points in the methods that you would like to clarify to the reader, but let's get to the results. So now we start off with the prevalence. As I read through this, I see it's quite a high prevalence, and that can be a perfect discussion point. The prevalence was found in your study to compare. How did it compare with other studies? Was the same found? Was it different? If not, why was the results different? Did the other study use different methodology, a different data collection tool, a different population, a different definition of work-related musculoskeletal disorders? And those are things that you can easily include in your discussion, and it gives lovely insights. And then, for example, the body area, lower back, was the most prevalent. And then wrist and feet, which is also an interesting finding. And we would love to see, well, how does that relate to the literature, or what is the researchers' take on this? And as you go through all the sections in your results, you make notes. For example, there was a lot of general workers and very few sprayers in the sample population, which means it's a potential limitation as no subgroup analysis could have been done. But it's also a future research recommendation, because maybe the sprayers can be, a specific study can be done in the future to look at the risk of work-related musculoskeletal disorders in sprayers. And then you go on, and we've highlighted that the risk is quite high in the general workers, the length of time that they worked. So you make your notes as you go on and read through the results and the methods. Once you've been through the results and the methods, just go back to your introduction. It may be that you've written your introduction quite a few weeks ago and that you already forgot what's in there. So have a fresh idea of what you've put in your introduction before you start with your discussion. So just read through it once more. As you read through it, you may pick up and get some more insights into how to formulate that discussion. For example, here we have a study that referred to the repetitive nature, and that may be a role that play a role in the reason why the general workers have got such a high prevalence of work-related musculoskeletal disorders. And as you read through, there may be a few other things that you pick up. Here's, for example, a limitation, a potential limitation of the study. We didn't assess time loss, who was absent due to work-related musculoskeletal disorders, and how frequently they were absent. So it's worth going through the introduction just to get a few additional ideas. Then, when you get to your discussion section, you can, many studies start by reminding the reader of the objective of the study. Now that is valuable to do if you have enough words. I mean, if your study is not too long and you don't need to cut out words. So it's definitely worth starting off your discussion by reminding the reader of the objective of the study. It's brilliant, and that may be the significance as well. It often gets done, but often if there's not enough words, if the paper is much longer than 3,000 words and the journal requirements are 3,000 words, this is often the first section that gets cut out. Then what you can do, because you've already made your notes in these comment boxes, you can copy this comment and paste it in your discussion section. And make sure that you italize it in some way so that you are very clear that this was just your notes, because you need to formulate it properly. But then, once you've copied all your various comments on the side into your discussion, you have created a structure, almost like temporary subheadings. And then it becomes much easier to go on and just fill the discussion in, fill in the gaps. Put a paragraph here where you discuss the prevalence. Put a paragraph here where you discuss the implications, quality of life of the fact that low back pain was such a high prevalence. And then just move through the entire discussion. Once you are done, my first suggestion is that you just do some free writing. You know the literature by now. Just type it out, without referring back to studies at this stage. And then go for a walk around the block, jump a few times up and down, do some retail therapy, and then come back and fill in these gaps. I hope this helped. Enjoy writing that discussion, and remember, your reader depends on your insights. If you found this video helpful, smash the like button. For more useful tips to boost your research experience, subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button below this video. If you need a solution to a challenge not yet covered on my channel, leave a comment in the box below. See you in the next video.